This episode of Paddling TV is brought to you by Bic Sport Paddle Surf, helping you have more fun and fitness on the water since 1979. For more information, visit bicsup.com.
One of the great things about stand-up paddleboarding is that it's a really simple sport and you don't need a lot of equipment. And best of all, once you do make the initial investment, that equipment should last you a good number of years. First things first, paddleboards come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes, so it's important that you choose the right one. We're actually going to take a good look at how to choose the right board in the next segment, but here, let's take a quick moment to go over the anatomy of a paddleboard. The front of the board is the nose, and the back of the board is the tail. The rails of the board are the edges, where it transitions from the top of the board, which is called the deck, to the bottom of the board, which is called, of course, the bottom. On the deck, you have a deck pad where you stand, or kneel, and you'll also have a carry handle, which lets you carry the board under your arm. At the tail, you've got a leash plug where you'll attach your leash to the board, and on the bottom, you've got a fin box or fin boxes where the fins go in. Most fins are detachable to make transporting the boards easier, and so you can replace a fin if it gets broken. Some boards just have one fin box, while others might take up to 4 fins. As far as the paddle goes, in general, you'll want to size your paddle about 8 to 12 inches taller than you are. Closer to 8 inches if you're doing primarily surfing, and closer to 12 if you're touring or racing. Of course, there are a lot more consideration when it comes to choosing a paddle, and that's something we're going to look at in an upcoming segment. It's also important to know that paddleboards are considered a vessel by the U.S. Coast Guard. This means that you need to have a life jacket and whistle on hand if you're outside of a swimming or surfing area. If you're not a strong swimmer, you'll definitely want to consider wearing a life jacket while you're out stand-up paddleboarding. There's a lot of great ones on the market designed specifically for paddling. If you're a strong swimmer, you consider an inflatable PFD like the one I'm wearing here. These are great because they're low profile and they can be out of the way, but they're ready in case you need them. A leash is another key piece of safety equipment. A leash connects you to the board with an ankle strap, which means that you can't get separated from your board. Leashes are pretty much mandatory in the surf zone, but they're also recommended for flatwater paddling. In case the wind comes up, a leash really helps in preventing you from getting separated from your board. Other than that, the only gear that you need is the clothing that you wear. Dressing appropriately is pretty straightforward when the air and water is warm. You simply need to wear clothing that works well when it's wet, dries quick, and keeps you cool and protected from the sun. Rash guards, board shorts, a hat, lots of sunscreen, those are the typical things people wear. And if you're going to be around rocky or uneven shoreline, you'll definitely want to look for a good water shoe. Dressing for the cold is a bit more complicated. You need to wear something that will keep you warm whether you're wet or dry, in the water or out of the water. The best options are neoprene wetsuits or dry suits with latex gaskets that keep water out. You'll also want a pair of neoprene booties to keep your feet warm. So there you have it, a quick rundown of all the gear that you need for stand-up paddling. As I mentioned in the beginning, the great thing about stand-up paddling is that it doesn't require a ton of gear, and once you have it, you're good to go for years to come.